What's up, everybody? This is John with the Unpaid Gamers and another Car Thoughts video. It's been a little bit since I did one. It's been a little bit since we streamed anything, really. Since after October and the Spectacular. I think we're all just kind of taking a break with some things. I've had some personal things to address and go through and stuff like that. Hold on, I'm gonna turn my defrosters on because it's foggy as shit. But hopefully we're through all that. It looks like we are. So I've still been playing games. I just haven't really done much streaming. So I wanted to do today's car thoughts about something new that I've been getting into. And so let me start off by saying, I've never been a PC gamer, really. I mean, back in like 2000, late 90s, I was into PC games then. Pretty good, I guess. I mean, I had consoles, and I've always been a console guy. But, so I get some rattling going on. Hopefully you can't hear it. But, I think it's just going to rattle. So, it's fucking annoying. Anyway, so, back then I was a PC gamer. I was always into consoles, but I had, an N64, and then I really didn't get... I did get a PS1 sometime after that. I kind of did it backwards, I guess. I went with Super Nintendo, and then I went straight to N64. I didn't get a PlayStation, even though it kind of came out first. I ended up getting one after to play all the games I couldn't play before. And after that, I didn't really get another console until I got the OG Xbox. And in between there, though, however, I did pretty good amount of PC gaming. Really into Doom, StarCraft, Command & Conquer, a lot of weird titles. There's like a roller coaster construction game that we got heavy into, and anything that my dial-up internet would get me. That's what I would get. So, I really played PC games then, and then I kind of got out of gaming for not very long. I mean, a year or two, and then I bought an OG Xbox. I really was gonna get a PS2 back then, but you couldn't find them anywhere. And I remember driving around, and it was before the internet, and before you could really, there was no clear release dates back then. So, you heard it might be out, who knows? So I could stop in somewhere and try to get one, but it was really, really hard to get. They were sold out. You couldn't just source one online like you can now with these new systems. So I didn't get one of those, and I got that Xbox instead. And I remember getting into Project Gotham and just a bunch of weird random stuff that I think I had. There was at one point I think I had every Xbox game, because there weren't that many out. They would just, one or two to come out, I'd see something new and I would get it. I was making more money than I could spend, really. So I would just get whatever I seen out that was new, and just kind of stuck with consoles since then. So I don't really prefer to sit in front of the computer and play. And prior to recent years, some of the really fancy computer games that there were motivation to go check out, one of which is Doom 3, but I say that, it was very hard to find something that would run it back then, within my budget, or most people's budgets. You kind of had to have a high-end setup for that stuff. And so somewhere here and there. Like I still always had a computer, and I had an E-machine for a long time. Those were known for being able to expand pretty easy. I had a pretty good graphics card in it. I did circle back at one point, and I got into like Sims and some computer games that way. This motherfucker is staying in lane. Shit. So I've been like prancing around PC gaming land for a while, but I've just never considered myself a PC gamer. Within the past 10 years or so, I've had a gaming PC. I don't even use it for that. I just use it for work, to be honest with you. I didn't want my computer to ever be a slowdown for me, so I went complete overkill with my work computer, and it can run literally everything. I just don't like to sit there at my desk and play games. I just don't like it. I know I can hook it to a TV and use a controller. I just can't. I just don't enjoy it, so I don't do it. I just stick with console games. It's very hassle-free. I mean, if you're into PC games, if you got a good setup, it's still mostly hassle-free. But there's oftentimes something's not displaying right, or something's not sounding right, or and you just gotta tinker with stuff a lot more. And I just haven't felt like doing that in a long time. So consoles always provide nowadays they kind of suck with that because studios are sucking, but consoles had always kind of been the uniform good experience. Like, this is what you get, this is what it is. The game may suck, but like it runs how it's supposed to and shit like that. And now those waters are muddied up, and with current consoles being more and more like computers and the development stuff, I don't know. That's kind of what new consoles remind me of in a way, is PC gaming, in the sense of shit don't always work right. However, with consoles, you can't really upgrade what you got, so you're stuck with the best that the developers can work it out for you. I don't know. It's really odd, bizarre time. So, anyway, it's a long introduction, I suppose, but that's led me to getting into a Steam Deck. And if you haven't heard of a Steam Deck, it is not a streaming deck of any sorts. It's a handheld console, which I've had mobile gaming throughout the years too. Never really much. My friend, when I was little, had a Game Boy, so I played his all the time. I never actually had one. Didn't have a Game Boy Advance, didn't have a lot of that stuff. I did get a 3DS though, mostly for Mario Maker, and new Mario Brothers, shit like that. So, I've had a Sony PSP, I had a Vita, I have a Switch, which I guess you can consider a mobile console. But I've danced around the console stuff too, or handheld stuff too, and it's varying degrees of niceness, right? Like I think without a doubt, hands down, Nintendo's always done the best handheld consoles, and the Switch, they geniusly made their main console a handheld. So the Switch has been amazing, but it has its limitations. So they announced the Steam Deck, and of course there's been lots of one-off consoles, and I say like one-off consoles generically. Like there's been a lot of consoles that are not your big three, right? Like Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, and they just don't have very, very great success. Like, they'll last a little bit, they'll have a couple cool titles, they'll then they'll just kind of fade away. And the Steam Deck got announced, and I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. Like, you know, you can play your Steam library and stuff, but it really didn't have like I don't know, like it's big like launch titles or exclusives or something, and that makes consoles very tricky. So I wasn't quite sure how it was going to do, but I decided, you know, it's been like a year or so in, and you know, the other part of that too is you had to like reserve one, and you couldn't get one right away, and you know, it was a little tricky to get one. Now they're, at least with most of the models, you can freely order them now. The smaller, cheaper one, it is on a reservation at this point, but I think it goes in and out of availability. It's just kind of based on how much they can manufacture and the demand and stuff. And around Christmas time, I'm sure some of that's much more demanding than what it normally is. But you know, it's been a year or maybe two now since release, and I've still been hearing nothing but good things about it. It's almost like it's got this new resurgence even for it. So I've been hearing a lot about it lately, and I'm like, okay, let me look into this, because this is starting to be intriguing. So, you know, I look into it. There's 3 different models, if you don't know. There's the 64 gig model for $399. There is the 256 model for, I think it's $5 something, $520, $550, somewhere around that range. And then there is the 512 gig version that has a like an anti-glare screen or something, and it is like $649 or something like that. So it kind of started because my wife wanted a new Dyson for Christmas, and you know, these Dyson handheld vacuums, they're like battery operated, pretty expensive, you know, they're about $500. And so she wanted one of them, and she's like, you know, I don't care, I know it's a cleaning thing, I don't you know, surprises out the window, whatever. She just wanted one, and so for Christmas, that's what she was wanting, was that. So I said, okay, well, how about this? How about I get you that, and you get me a Steam Deck? So deal was made. I went with the middle of the road Steam Deck, the 256, for like $5 something, you know, so it's like almost exact same price. And so we made the deal. I ordered mine. It was on order. Mine got there within a couple days. Her Dyson arrived just like 2 days ago. And of course, being Christmas, you know, it's not Christmas yet. So Christmas presents aside, you know, I wanted to play the Steam Deck because it's in my kitchen or dining room or wherever the presents were congregating. And but you know, it's before Christmas, and we don't, like, a lot of times I'll give her stuff early, but I don't really ever get my stuff early. I don't ask for it. I don't, you know, we just save stuff to open on Christmas. It's not a big deal. But I really want to check this out and start getting excited about it. So her Dyson arrived, and I intentionally brought it downstairs where she was working and said, oh, hey, look, your Dyson's here. And she, so then of course she wanted it. I'm like, well, okay, you know, if you want to have it early, then that's fine. But that means I get my Steam Deck early. So that's what we opted out. We were not playing by the rules this year for Christmas. Gave our presents early. So she's got her Dyson. She's been vacuuming the house, loving it, and I've been playing with my Steam Deck. So that's kind of the setup, how that happened there. So, you know, I wasn't like really pining over one. It was a couple things. Like, I took notice of it, and I was like, this is really cool. And then, you know, getting her this Dyson, like, she's gonna be looking for stuff to get me. She always does a great job, but I was like, this is a good opportunity to try this thing out. So So jumped on board. So then it's like it happened to coincide with a Steam sale, and there was a ton of stuff for like 99 cents, $2. I got like the whole Valve library, which is almost the whole Valve library, but it's like Portal, and actually I guess it is. I mean, Portal, Half-Life, Counter, all these kick-ass old computer games and stuff. It was like on sale for $5 or something, like all of those together. So like I got that. I got just a couple things that like I've had interest in but have not made it to consoles yet. That's usually, if you're familiar with how the progression goes, normally stuff comes out first on computer and you have to just kind of sit around and wait for a port. You have to hope that the port comes to a system you have, and you always kind of play that games, and some games never do make it. And then there's a ton of just super kind of indie games, like way more than the other stuff. Other consoles have done really good with that lately, but PC's always king with that. There's a ton of games on Steam that are not on consoles, and especially like with the stuff I like. I mention all the time, I love like the full motion video games, stuff like that, and quite a few of those make it to consoles, but there's a ton that are just not doing it, or from back in the day that you can play, like the Tex Murphy series. It was this whole like kind of noir detective style FMV series they did. All those are only PC. They're real big back in the 90s and stuff. Just a ton of games like that have just always been PC only. So the way the Steam Deck works is essentially it runs on Linux, and it's just heavily integrated into Steam. And then Valve has started going through, and they call it like Steam Deck Verified or Deck Verified or whatever. And it's games that are for sure to provide a great experience on the Steam Deck. A lot of developers will do an update as well to make that experience good. So like, there'll be some titles that haven't been tested by Valve, and they'll be like maybe deemed as playable or something, and then developers come back, do an update, and then all of a sudden it's verified. So there's quite a few of Steam Deck verified titles. Now, just because it's not verified doesn't mean that it's not playable. There's like verified, there's like supported, there's playable, there's who knows what. And Steam Deck has a lot of input methods, right? So it's got the ABXY stuff, it's got the D-pad, it's got 2 analog sticks, it's got the L1, L2, R1, R2 buttons on the top shoulder. It also has additional 4 buttons like underneath where your fingers rest. So it's like a L3 and L4 and a R3, R4. It's got, of course, your start and your select equivalents. You got your Steam button, you got your options button, and then you have 2 trackpads, which also serves as buttons, as well as clicking in the 2 analog sticks. So there's a ton of input options there. With those trackpads, you can use it to operate an on-screen mouse usually. So like, even if it's a regular PC game that doesn't support a controller, you can use it on here. The biggest thing I would say would be, if like there's too much text and it's too small, I don't think it would be as convenient on this. However, it has a zoom in text feature, which works okay, but it's there. And you can dock the thing to use it on your TV or monitor. So you can really use it like a PC anyway. That's essentially what it is a PC with like a gaming UI built into it. So, it even has like a desktop mode. So the other great thing about it is because it's Linux, because it's essentially as powerful as the Series X. Not only can it basically run anything, the emulator scene is outstanding and like unprecedented. So super easy process. You can switch to this desktop mode at any point, and you just, it has Firefox on it, and you just go to it's called EmuDeck. You install their software, and it installs kind of basically pre-set up emulators for like every platform. Now, the only caveat to that, of course, it doesn't come with ROMs. You have to source those on your own, ROMs or ISOs or whatever. And you also need to find the BIOS files, which if you're familiar with emulation, that's no big deal. You've had to do it anyway for everything else. So, but you do that, and then like on top of that, with this desktop mode, with Firefox, you can just go in and go to like your whatever ROM site you want and download them straight to your device. You don't really ever need a PC to do any of this. So that's what I've been diving into the past few days. So there's been a couple great deck verified titles that I've been playing. 2016's Doom is one of them, and it looks freaking amazing. It's not at all like the dumbed down Switch version. It's like you're playing on PS5 or Xbox or PC or whatever. Incredibly detailed, great experience. The controls feel tight. Like I love, like the Steam Deck is really light, but everything feels like it's really good quality. Like, there's something about the Switch. I love the Switch, but when you're playing handheld on the Switch, or you're using those detachable Joy-Cons, like, the buttons feel real little and they feel kind of cheap-ish. And I think they are, to be honest, because I've had a couple break. And not really break, but like joystick drift and stuff like that I've replaced and got new ones because it went bad very, very early. Stuff like that. So these, like the analog sticks, are really, really, they feel solid. Very well done, I think, this machine. So super light. I don't know if I said that. And it's just great. So like first thing I checked out was Doom 2016. I have like NBA 2K on there, which it's great and it's better than the Switch version, but it's still kind of based off of the current gen version. So like there's some stuff missing, but it's really not because of the Steam Deck at all. It's just how they developed the PC port, and they've screwed the PC gamers out a little bit. So eventually that stuff will catch up. But even that aside, though, it's a great version of it. And then I started jumping into the emulator part of it. It was pretty easy setup. Like I said, you just download the software. A couple of those, you source some BIOS files. Then you just go and download whatever ROMs you want. And it works great. It works great. Of course, retro games, by that I mean like Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, and anything prior will run like a dream. Those are easy to emulate on anything. Every device I have pretty much has Super Nintendo on it. So that part's not a big deal. But like the 3D era stuff, things have always been kind of tricky with emulation. So this thing will emulate up to like PS3. And then, PS4 era and up, most of those have PC ports. So, like, you can really almost play anything on this, one way or another. And I've tried out pretty much all of the systems that I would be concerned with. There's still some, of course, I haven't, like some of the handheld, it emulates Switch even. There's an emulator for Switch on there. I haven't tested that out. I'm kind of curious. I'm sure to run fine. Um, so the OG Xbox emulation was not the greatest. And I think it's more to do with just the Xbox emulator itself and that process. It's not great. It's doable. I'm sure there's quite a few titles you can play. Out of the ones I tried, maybe half of them worked. And it wasn't an issue like with the Steam Deck, I don't think. If anything, it would be like an AMD graphical kind of issue. Because like the game would start, like it was kind of a bitch to get it going at first, like getting the controls and getting the BIOS stuff and that kind of thing. And I get some of them to launch, but then some of them they'll launch and then they go to like just a black screen and you can hear sound and stuff, but the graphics aren't displaying right. Now the flip side of that is, even if that gives you a problem, you just download the PS2 version and you're fine, because PS2 emulation seems to be working like a dream. So most things on Xbox was on PS2. I think the Xbox version was a little better, but with these you're playing PS2 and it's upscaling it anyway, so it's probably going to look better than what you remember no matter which version you get. Probably smaller file size doing PS2 if you're concerned about room. But so PS2 emulation works great. N64 emulation works great, which if you're in the emulation scene, N64 has been a pain in the ass forever, but it's finally caught up. And I'm sure it's been for PC and stuff for a while. I just haven't looked into it in a bit. So but that works great. I tried PS3, Xbox 360. Xbox 360 works fine. I think, did I do a 360 title? I'm not sure. I don't, maybe I didn't. I just did PS3, I think. I don't know. I'll try Xbox at some point. But, a lot of the Xbox 360 stuff is backwards compatible anyway. So for me, like with the Series X, I don't have much need for it unless I just want to play it handheld. But, and then quite a few of those, that my favorite titles on that stuff has been ported up or it's on Steam or whatever. So anyway, so I tried PS3. That was a little bit trickier getting started. You got to go and you got to download like the official firmware from Sony, but they provide it for free. Then you bring it over, install it. And then I never had a PS3 back in the day, so I kind of forgot about this process. But it has to like install the game. And I'm pretty sure I remember you have to install every PS3 game, if I remember back in the day correctly. So, it goes through that, and then like it launches it, and it was running just fine. I didn't try many titles. I just tried Unreal Tournament 3, actually, because I was looking for a good version of that to put on. And I was going to do the 360 version, but the site I was on didn't have the ROM, so I just did the PS3 version. So I might revisit that at some point, get a 360 one, try that out. The PS3 version worked fine. It had some audio glitches, but I think that, again, that was more due to the emulation part, because the performance-wise was running just fine. Pretty smooth. I think it was still 60 frames a second. There's a lot of stuff like that. Like you have a dynamic refresh rate and frame setting built into everything on Steam Deck. Like you just hit a button, it opens up, and you can adjust that stuff on the fly. So that's really cool. So if there's something performance-wise that's suffering, you can always drop the frame rate down. And it's natively, without doing emulation, you're running PC games, so there's a ton of settings there anyway, and most things kind of default have it's good setting configured. Cyberpunk, for instance, has a specific Steam Deck option, so a lot of things are prepared for that and have their own settings that are optimized for that, apparently. So yeah, I don't know. It's been a wild ride. Like, and a lot of this stuff, I've had these consoles throughout the years, and it's games, oftentimes games that I haven't played in a real long time, or sometimes games that I haven't played at all because they were on the other console. So that's one reason I like emulation. And, like I said, I never had PS3. I didn't even have PS2. So there's some of those games that if they haven't gotten ported up, which most of them have, I'll revisit those and check out. And then just having something on the go. Like, I don't really do a lot of travel gaming, though. I do, however, sit around like the living room and stuff on the couch. All of my hardcore game stuff is set up down in the basement on the big TV, surround sound, stuff like that. So if I'm sitting down there, I'm like sitting down there to watch, theater type movies or game or whatever, and it's a more serious experience. So sitting around like upstairs on the couch or the bedroom or whatever, the Switch is good. I mess around my iPad a lot. And that's where the Steam Deck comes into play for me. I can dock it, but I don't, it doesn't come with the dock. You have to buy that separate. You can, however, just, it has a USB-C port. You can plug in and just do external to HDMI if you want, right out of the box. The only thing is if you do that, you need, you're running off a battery. So like if you do the dock, you can plug it in and do an external display and shit like that. Plug a mouse and keyboard in it, whatever. But so far, my usage has been just hanging around on the couch. And there's other games, like I have some of these same games on the home consoles downstairs. But it's nice just to sit around and play in a more relaxed environment with some of that stuff. So, there's some games I'll sit around and just poke around, like especially open world games now. Some things might be a little harder to see, size-wise, text-wise, but it's really not so bad once you're in it. And I don't know, open world games are, you can play them forever and go around the map and find new shit and search out collectibles and whatever. So I think sitting around, just messing around in something like that, and for me, would be really beneficial and fun. Just give me, more time where I don't really feel like going downstairs, sitting down and putting 10 hours into that game. But, I can easily do a couple hours here and there on the couch. And then check out all this other stuff. So, between emulators, Valve titles, or Steam titles, there's so much to play. I'm very, very impressed with this little device. It is as much as a console pretty much, but it is by far the best handheld device. I think if you're a casual person, you're a kid, stuff like that, there's real value to the Switch. The Switch is still great. Of course, Nintendo holds its first party titles very closely. So, if you want Mario, if you want that stuff, just get the Switch. It's much cheaper. That's what you're getting. If you're a more hardcore gamer, you like serious stuff, and you want a portable thing, this is without a doubt the best handheld device that's been made up to date, I think. And, again, if you're really worried about Switch stuff, it is something you can also emulate. So, I haven't tried that out, so I don't know how well it works, but I have seen it running, like on YouTube and stuff. It'll run Switch games just fine, it appears. Now, I don't know if it's using that emulator or what people are doing to get it running exactly, but seemingly it works very well. So I think if you just get the one, you'll be fine with that stuff. But I would test that out first, find more about the Switch emulation if you wanted it to replace your Switch. But I don't see any issue with having a Switch and that, just kind of trading off. If you like, Nintendo's always been a good companion console anyway. So you have your PS4, you have your PS5, Series X, whatever. Like, it's almost like most people have that and a Switch, for the casual type of games, and then you got your serious stuff. So to me, this like a Switch doesn't take the place of a PS4 or PS5 in my opinion. This does. There's all the new big releases. They're available on there naturally anyway. PC ports. Some things will be exclusive for a bit, and I don't know. The game. There's almost always, even if it's console exclusive, there's a PC port. So, recently they've been toting like Stray, and they've been toting the Spider-Man that's been the PlayStation exclusive, like it's on PC. And it's Steam verified and all that stuff. So you won't be missing out on a whole lot, I don't think, going that route. But for what it is, it's a great device. I'm really, really impressed with it. I'm super happy with it. And I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface with a lot of what it can play, what it can do. I've just been toying with a lot of the different things and what's interests me. So check it out. See if it fits for you. Other than not knowing how successful it was going to be and if it was going to stick around, I didn't really know where its place was for me because, a lot of the big games it was toting, like I can just play on PlayStation and Xbox and stuff. So I wasn't sure the value for me. But, that value with those games is definitely being able to play them anywhere, on the couch or wherever. And then the emulator takes it to a whole nother level. Battery life is all over the place. And it really mostly depends on what you're running. If you're just dicking around and playing little dinky stuff, it'll last for hours. If you're playing some powerhouse game, you might only get an hour and a half or so out of it. So, check that out. You can always adjust settings, dumb stuff down, get more battery life. But it's not like it's like the battery sucks or anything. It's just, you just got to be mindful of how you're using it. And I think it's probably on par with Switch battery life, to be honest with you. But it can get much better and it can get much worse. Like I was messing around in the desktop mode, just downloading ROMs, doing that kind of stuff off battery, and it was hours without an issue. Playing some powerhouse game like Doom to the max settings or whatever, it's not as good. It drops pretty quick. So, but you can always plug it in and play. So keep that in mind with that stuff. Definitely check into it. Look at what all it can do. See if there's a place for you. If you can find the right way to use it, I think it's an invaluable console. I love it so far, and I'll keep you up to date. Just gives me more shit to play. Like I needed that, and it's been real fun. So that's my experience with the Steam Deck. You can just go to, I don't even know the website, but you can go there and it has all the price points there. You can browse, like it takes you directly to a link of Deck supported titles, and there's hundreds of thousands of stuff on Steam anyway, so like I'm sure eventually more and more will get verified, tested, that kind of stuff. You can always use the internet for that kind of resource to see how things are running. So look into it, check it out. I think you can find a place for it. Little higher price point, but it's definitely worth it so far in my opinion. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the Steam Deck, and look to see what's happening soon. I'll be streaming some stuff eventually. I may even stream some Steam Deck stuff. I don't know. With like the Switch and that stuff, I can stream it. I just don't usually because I gotta fuck with the capture card and stuff like that, and it's a big pain in my ass. I have all that stuff. I just haven't felt like messing with it. But either way, I still also been playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the reboot that's out. And I probably won't stream that, like I've said many times before. But there are some other titles I want to check out on there and will check out. I have the new God of War. I just haven't tested it out yet. Try to pace myself. So one way or another, I will stream some new stuff. So keep on the lookout for that. I guess Tom's taking a break from streaming for a bit after his day after day spectacular stuff. But I'm sure he will be back at some point soon. So keep on the lookout. New stuff coming as always. I'll do more car thoughts again. And yeah, till next time. So thanks for listening. See ya.